Amanda Bloomgren and a board member of Launch Ministry.
Hi, I'm Bob Repke, a member of the Launch Ministries Board of Directors.
Hello, I'm Donzel Leggett, and I'm very proud to be a Launch Ministry board member.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ross, and I'm a board member at Launch.
Hi, I'm Sharon Bowman, and I'm a member of the Launch Board.
Hi, I'm Jason Garver. I'm one of the board members for Launch Ministry.
Hey everyone, my name is Corey Magstad. I'm the founder and executive director of Launch Ministry, and we are so excited to have you join us tonight. What you're going to be experiencing tonight is a series of stories from some of our staff, our volunteers. You'll get a chance to hear how we've navigated this COVID-19 crisis and how we're looking forward to some exciting things as we move to the future. So thank you for joining us. Grab a snack and enjoy the show.
My name is Jasmine. I am the drop-in coordinator. My journey here at Launch started at the age of 18. I was looking for some resources for my housing, and I was actually able to find those resources with the help of Launch. So getting my housing was not really easy. It was a process, but they worked hard. They managed to get the paperwork done. It did take some time. Then I continued coming to Launch, starting my journey with them. And one day I came in to ask for some resources, and I was offered a job. So I started from an office manager to a coordinator drop-in. Then from there, I just started to grow even more. What I like about Launch and what I have learned about Launch in my experience is that they don't see you as just a participant. They see you as family. We have all different experience, and it does take time. It's not something that you're just gonna get here, jump right away, and you're housed. We would get you where you need to get. All we need is for you to cooperate with us, for you to stay in touch with us, for you to be able to have that communication with us where we can help you and we know what's going on. And it's just the matter of fact of patience. We will get our job done. I know it. I believe in it because I was that person. I am that person, and I want to continue helping these people of similarities that I have gone through. I'm very appreciative for the chance that I have gotten from Amanda and Corey to actually give me and not just see me as a participant. They saw me as family. They gave me the resources, and I'm letting you know this because I was the person, I am the person, and I want to help these people.
Hello, my name is Maddie. I am Launch's unicorn, aka the crisis coordinator. I first attended Launch as a participant in 2016, give or take a year. My memory often fails me. Back then I had ever-changing hair and piercings all over my face and wore clothes that were about 5 sizes too big for me. So most of the places that I went, I got disapproving looks and comments such as, "You'd be prettier without that bull ring in your nose, Grandma." To be myself meant to be isolated for standing out, and I was made to feel that I took up too much space. That people would like me better if I would just do the thing and conform already. But Corey always held space for me, and he challenged me to look deeper and provided me with resources that have since changed my life. So it was obvious that he cared about my well-being and my heart and my goals, whether or not they aligned with his own, which made it important for me to stay connected by giving him life updates even after I no longer felt I needed Launch's services. Through my experiences with Launch, I discovered that I'm a type 4 in the Enneagram. For those of you who are not yet familiar, I'd highly recommend you do some investigative work. As an individualist, and that's my type name, I'm in relentless pursuit of my truth. I learn in a setting where I'm able to express myself and relate to others. So when I was provided with the opportunity to do so through Adulting 2.0 in November of last year, I eagerly accepted. This is my first time being in the new space since Launch had moved locations. Walking in was a breath of fresh air. The high ceilings, the wood floors, and huge windows let in lots of natural light. I was comfortable. We sat in community with one another and ate dinner together, an act I very much cherish. The cohort's first session began with addressing what was and wasn't allowed in the space we would all be holding for one another. That was so profound to me. We were all provided with an opportunity to speak our piece. All this to say, I felt that this environment was a very person-centered, forward-thinking in comparison to many of the other intentionally educational spaces that I had been in recently. So when Amanda had offered me a job as the crisis coordinator for launch, I was thrilled. I knew this meant I was going to be in an environment that honors me as I am, strengths and weaknesses included. My experience had been even more joyous than I could have ever anticipated, and every day is a new day to expand my horizons with Launch and all of the incredible people I am privileged to work alongside.
Well, hello everyone. Mason here. How you doing? All right. So can you you so it's your boy. All right. So could you sorry. All right. So I'm an ironic ball of contradiction. I'm unapologetically unique. The only thing that can describe me in my own eyes is I enjoy being undescribable. I mean, I get bubbly and stuff like that, but you know what I mean. I would say the graduation was one of the most influences, not only my graduation, but the second graduation I think I've been on. So everyone around you like looks at you and tells you truly how proud they are of you and what they feel about you and how just truly influential you are and how influential everyone else is to you. And it really got me tearing up because what was so influential about it is the fact that the launch members, the launch leaders are the ones that did that, and that they're the ones not did that completely, like they made it happen and then we helped, you know what I mean? Like it brought tears to my eyes because you guys don't give up on us. And that's what it was for me. I've always felt like adults have given up on me. And in this program, you guys have shown me that not only do you want to encourage me to be my best self, Amanda, you guys always yeah, you guys always encourage me to keep trying my best, and you're going to be here for me no matter what. So that's probably the most influential part, is the team leaders to me. What you guys have really taught me is a sense of not only gratitude, but a sense of I don't know if the word is dignity, but you guys made me realize, like, look at everything, not made me, but helped me realize, look at everything that I have. This right here, I have my music equipment, I have my home, I have my food, I have my emotions, I have a really good support network. The achievement that I would say I have is you guys gave me the grace to fully understand that I am capable and I am possible. And that's the big one. I'm possible. Impossible? No, I'm possible. And with that being said, you guys gave me the opportunity to really look at this whole picture. And I was kind of going in and out of good and bad, good and bad. But finally, I looked at the whole circumstances like, you know, everything you guys taught me as just Launch Yourself and as this group, I feel like it helps skyrocket me into my new achievements, into my new version, my 2.0 version of Mason Happy. So yeah, so there you go. That's my response.
Hi, my name is Amanda Flowers Peterson, and I'm Launch Ministries Program Director and Diversity and Inclusion Director. I've been with Launch Ministries since 2018, and it has been an exciting experience just seeing how we've transformed and transitioned into a multicultural environment. When I first came here, just a little caveat to the background that I hold with Launch Ministry, even though I didn't work here, I was from Iowa, Osage, Iowa, where Corey is from, and his dad was my pastor growing up. And so when he pursued me to have a meeting to talk about what I was doing now that I had moved back to Minnesota from California, I felt a little bit uncomfortable and wasn't really excited about the meeting because I kind of could feel deep down that maybe I might get offered a job. I didn't know if I wanted to be in a nonprofit organization situation because typically the environments, though they say that they have these certain perspectives and values and ideas, I've never had the personal experience of those actually benefiting my own life. And so I had basically given up on all nonprofits. But when I met with Corey and the numerous times we met after the first encounter, it was clear that there was something different about Launch Ministry, that we carry something different here, that we really care deep down about each individual person that walks through the door. And as I've grown in my experience here, I've been able to prove to myself that that is true. We've actually grown significantly in terms of our reach and who we're affecting. When I first came here, I was the only staff of color. We did have Gracia working with us. Me and her started around the same time, and she is a staff of color. But she was in a very part-time role and was only coming in periodically to engage the environment. Whereas I was the only full-time staff and the only one showing up to staff meetings and the only one that the participants were going to start seeing on a regular basis. Some of the things that I noticed right when I started that was cool, but then also something that we've grown and can now proudly say we've shifted. When I first started, it was very startling to our participants to see someone of color. They would ask me questions, wondered how and why I was in Chaska, Minnesota. I had individuals who identify in a minority population themselves, asking me questions about my hair and if I can help them with their hair. And all of a sudden, the idea of representation really mattered. And we started right off the bat articulating how we can start shifting our processes, our procedures, our systems to ensure that every participant that walks through the door feels loved and cared for. In about late fall to early winter of 2018, we started right then and there deciding that we were going to really hammer down this idea that Launch carries that makes us unique from every other organization, which is this eternal redemptive value that we carry. We believe that no one runs out of chances. And we wanted to ensure that that was being extended to every person, no matter how they identify in their ethnicity, in their spirituality, in their economic status, in their background. We wanted to ensure that that redemptive value went through every part of our processes. And so we really, with a fine-tooth comb and the staff that we had then, really tried to talk about what that redemptive factor looked like while also keeping our staff safe. And so there's been a lot of shifts in terms of even just identifying programs as programs. When I first started here, we didn't have any programs that were really identified, and now we have that. We have our drop-in program that serves individuals from 2 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. It provides them with services like the clothing closet that you got to hear Jasmine refer to. It gives them food and clothes and also hygiene products, and individuals are able to get into that closet every day if they need to. There are no barriers. We welcome them in. Another piece that the drop-in makes available for our individuals is our program, which is called Adulting 1.0, or our mentorship program, where individuals can come in and set week-long goals and really start to get down these different ideas that they have that they want to achieve towards to get out of their crisis situation. One of the biggest things we notice is that individuals in crisis oftentimes aren't making goals, they're surviving. And so how do you get someone out of that trauma brain? You really have them sit down, take a breath, be mindful, and set some goals that are achievable so they can feel like they're accomplishing something. And slowly but surely, with each small accomplishment, they level up and they're out of their crisis and they're back to thriving again, no longer needing to survive. One of the cool things about Adulting 1.0 is that we provide incentives. Individuals can come in, set those week-long goals, and they can get a $10 gift card either to a fast food restaurant, gas station. We also provide local services like getting your ID covered, your birth certificate. We hold forms for individuals. What we learned is that when individuals are in crisis, they need a support team. They need people around them to help them take care of the details. They are doing the hard work. They're maintaining, they're surviving. And survival is a lot more hard work than we give credit for in our society today. And so our programs are completely geared around supporting that ideology. Another cool program is our Adulting 2.0. It's a level up from our Adulting 1.0, where individuals get to engage in a cohort that lasts 10 weeks long. And it is community-based. We have leaders from the community that work at the local bank, library, schools, you name it, realtors. We have everything. And people come in, they invest their time, and our participants get to have this beautiful community aspect that you heard Maddie referring to earlier. That community really establishes that family dynamic that sets Launch Ministry apart. And it continues on in that value that we talk about, which is that redemptive factor. Oftentimes, when our individuals are getting to Adulting 2.0, it's because they have been successful in Adulting 1.0. They have consistently set goals. They've allowed us to engage their life. They've allowed us to support them with the incentives that we have designed for it. And they're ready. They're ready to get to that next level, and they're ready to thrive. What I enjoy about our environment with these programs that we offer in-house is the fact that we are so authentic. We tell individuals transparently what to expect. We don't make any false promises, and we give it to them straight, shaken, not stirred. The other piece that is really cool, and it's a newer program that we're really, really proud of, is our emergency shelter. That's our first program that's not in-house anymore, and it provides this wonderful opportunity for individuals to on-ramp to emergency shelter through hotels that are locally located in Scott and Carver County. These hotels provide temporary space for individuals who are really, really struggling in the community and served as an awesome, awesome support during these pandemic times. Basically, to give you a snapshot of what we experienced, initially, we were serving people with our emergency shelter about 2 people a month, and we went up to serving 8 people a month consistently, and we're still holding that together just because we had your support. The emergency shelter allows individuals to have a straight access to us, where they can get their housing assessment. They can also get a crisis intake that lets them know the resources that are in the community. And last but not least, they can continue being fed and getting all the resources that Drop-In provides, but yet they don't have a place to go to be able to maintain those services. These programs, Adulting 1.0, Adulting 2.0, Emergency Shelter, and Drop-In, have become this beautiful synergy that is Launch Ministry. When I started in 2018, all these things existed in some way, shape, or form, but they weren't defined. They weren't articulated. And yet, here we are today. We have these thriving programs, and we have this amazing staff who lead each of them. Now, one of the things that we had for a long time, and we had before I got here, was our housing program. That's partnered with the county. Now, while some people have gotten confused, I'm here to kind of set it straight today. Our housing program really serves as this gorgeous partnership with the county where they provide the funding and we provide the support. Launch Ministry is known for its mentorship and its family dynamic, and the county is able to come in partnership with us and get people permanently housed. We do not own any of the buildings that we get our people into. We also do not have any rights to any of the funding outside of the participant. All we do is we're there, we're supportive, we're cheerleading them on, and we're making sure they engage purposely. One of the cool things about that is when I started, I was overseeing the housing program. I came on as a housing program manager. And the cool part about our environment is that it fosters growth. And so I went from the housing program manager to the program director in just 7 months. During that time, I was able to really establish doubling our participants and making sure that we had a thriving process that can be supported by the next person that came in. Gracia Lozano now oversees our housing program, and it literally looks nothing like when I led it, and I love it. It's beautiful, it's caretaking, and our participants feel even more empowered than they ever did before. So let me go through. I told you about Gracia leading the housing program. Maddie, as she told you, leads our crisis programs, which is doing all of our intakes in our emergency shelter. Then we have Jasmine, who leads our drop-in program. And last but not least, you have me overseeing all the rest of the programs, partnered with Marlena Schultz, our beautiful admin, who kind of stays behind the scenes and makes sure everything is running properly. Us gals are really making things happen around here and allowing to make sure that the operations look beautiful. I want to talk about some of the things that we're really proud of in those programs and how our staff have shifted. The programs have allowed for us to be able to get to where we want to go as an organization. The staff have allowed us to get to that multicultural goal that we were hoping to achieve. How has that happened? Intentionality. We've definitely changed things from when I started here in 2018. Like I said, I was the only staff of color that was full-time and here where the participants can see. And now we have a beautiful synergy. 60% of our staff are staff of color. We are now serving close to 90% participants of color. That doesn't mean that the participants that identify as white have went away. We've grown, and we are so proud of how we've grown. This space has become a safe space for all individuals, however they identify. It always was, but now we're being more intentional about how we do those processes. The other piece that's really cool is that we make sure that anybody who comes in here to serve, that they're understanding our goals and what we want to achieve as we move forward as an organization. So if you've gotten the opportunity to work with us, to meet me, to meet Corey, to meet any of our lovely staff, you know firsthand what we are unapologetically trying to push forward. We are anti-racist in this environment. We ensure that every individual, no matter how they ethnically identify, feels like they have a space amongst us. We also are very much one of those environments that are non-binary. We do not hold these ideologies that someone has to be one way or another to get services for us. For instance, in our closet, individuals can access whatever gender clothing they feel comfortable with. They can access whatever hygiene products express themselves the best. We believe in encouraging individuals to be confident in however they identify, and that is cultural competency. The cool part about what this organization has shifted into that I am proud to bring you today is the fact that even me, I'm a very strong, open, passionate Black woman, and I'm able to be a leader in a region, in an area where there's not a lot of other leaders that look like me. But this at launch is my safe space, and it's become that way because we are so intentional and we're so proud of what we're pushing forward. And so during these pandemic times, though they've been scary and unpredictable, this space has remained safe, and it's because of all the hard work we've done with changing over these programs, leading them as we do, and having the staff that we have. They do great work. I'm going to have Corey come on and talk to you today about why we made these changes and how beautiful they have been as he's been able to see from start to finish here today what that's looked like. Thanks.
Start by recounting a story that Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 20. It's about a landowner who needs to hire some workers for his vineyard. So he goes to the place where the hired workers would gather, and he finds a few people that he thinks look like they'd be good for the job. So he offers them a day's wage, and he packs them up and he takes them to the vineyard. After a few hours, he recognizes that maybe he needs a few more folks. And so he goes back to that place, and there's still some people who haven't found jobs yet for the day. And so he grabs a few more and brings them along and puts them to work as well. As the day gets later and later, he gets towards the end of the day, and he happens to go past that space, and there are still a few people that had not been able to find jobs for the day. And so he brings them along and says, hey, I've still got some work, come and spend the last couple hours working for me. At the end of the day, the landowner decides to distribute the wages, and everybody gets paid the same amount, whether they worked for the whole day, or whether they worked for half the day, or whether they worked for just a few hours. And some of the workers were really upset by that. The people who had worked all day felt like this wasn't fair. I worked all day, I put in all these hours, how come you're paying the person who only worked for a few hours the same as you're paying me? Well, then Jesus says this line at the end of this parable that's really profound. He says, the last will be first, and the first will be last. Out of this story, we recognize that Jesus doesn't necessarily care about fairness. He doesn't necessarily care about equality. He doesn't necessarily care that the person who only worked for a few hours got paid the most. What Jesus cared about was that people who had needs were able to have their needs met so that they could have what they needed to survive. So it was more important to him that the person who only worked a few hours still had the resources they need to buy their food, to pay for their housing, to cover all of the things that they needed to live. Why do I share this story? I think one of the things that we've talked about in our community here over the last few years is this idea of equality and equity that's been active in the schools, that's been part of our ongoing civic conversation. Well, it's clear to me that Jesus cares more about everybody getting the resources that they need in order to thrive and survive, and less about making sure that everybody gets the same resources and opportunities. So why do I share the story? Well, as Amanda alluded to in her portion of the evening, about 3 years ago, we noticed that there was a huge problem in the work that we were doing here at Launch Ministry. Only about 10% of the youth that we were serving were youth of color. Statewide, that number is closer to 90%. And so we were recognizing that there were youth here in our community that had needs and were not getting the resources that they needed. We had the resources, and something about the way we were operating was not able to provide those resources and connect those resources to the youth who actually needed it. And so, as Amanda kind of described this process of change and transition, of the things that we did, of systems and structures that we've adjusted, it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of change. And yet we're proud to say that we have transformed the work that we do and really the people that we are because of this great need that we saw. And we're thrilled to be able to see the results of that almost 90% of the youth that we serve now are youth of color. The actual youth that have needs are getting their needs met here in the space by the work that we're doing. One of the other things that we're proud about is that we haven't just really jumped on this in response to the horrific murder of George Floyd. A lot of organizations are talking about race or talking about equality and equity right now. We're thrilled that we've been working on this for years. And because of that, this didn't take us by surprise. We've been well aware of the fact that people of color are harmed in our community. And we've been doing the work to try to make sure that at least in this space, they're going to find safety, they're going to find security, they're going to find hope, they're going to find the resources that they need. So as we talk about this, our board over the last 6 months to a year has been working on our strategic planning process. And one of those pieces that came out in our strategic plan was to recognize that we need to not just do this work internally, but we need to start doing this work externally. Because our youth don't just interact with us and come into this space and find safety. They also go back out into the community to other agencies, to other resources, to restaurants, to employers, to families, to all of these systems that they have to interact with. And if that's not a safe place, they're still not safe. Our staff can find safety here in this space, but if they go out into our community and work with our partner agencies, work with the other systems and structures that are in our community, if they are harmed because those agencies haven't done the work, this community is still not safe. And so part of our desire as we move forward is to say this great work that we feel like we've been doing to become a multicultural agency and also to work towards becoming an anti-racist agency, we also want to look outward and say, how can we help support the broader community into addressing these things that are harmful to our youth, harmful to our staff, and are really then, as a result, harmful to all of us. Because we as a community can't be whole unless all of us are safe. So there have been a number of things that we've learned along the way in our work internally that we can begin to start talking about externally as to how do we do these really practical things that can begin to make the community safer for all of us. So I want to just list a few of the little things that we've learned that you can maybe begin to implement in your spaces, whether you're part of an organization here, whether you live in this community, whether you just interact in public spaces. These are some really practical things that you can begin to do in order to make this community a safer and better place for all of us. So the first one is to listen when marginalized people are talking, without getting smug, without second guessing them, without getting arrogant about their story. Listen to the stories they're telling. If they are saying they're being harmed in our community, they are being harmed in our community. You need to hear those stories, embrace them, welcome them, listen to them, and allow them to transform the narrative that you think about our community and how we actually are. So the second piece related to that, don't dismiss those lived experiences that are unfamiliar to you. A lot of times when our staff, as I was growing in this process, would talk to me about racist experiences that they had in our community, my brain would cycle to, well, are you sure they're being racist? Was that actually racist? Those kind of things happen to me also. That kind of second guessing, when they've trusted you with the story, is harmful. So don't second guess. Don't dismiss those lived experiences. Recognize that a person of color knows racism more than you do. And when they experience it, they know what it is. So welcome those stories. If they're comfortable sharing it, embrace those stories. Lead with care. Instead of trying to second guess, care for them in the middle of their crisis. Third, don't take attacks on racism, white supremacy, whiteness, those kinds of words personally. It's not necessarily about you as an individual. It's about these systems and structures that have racism embedded into them. They're broken. And in those broken systems, you may gain advantage from them, but it's not really about you. And so when we're talking about how we need to repair and restore these broken systems, try to not take it personally. Try to pull yourself out of that and recognize that we are about a bigger process than just you. Fourth, and here's where it does get personal, you need to acknowledge your own internal biases so that you can do the work of dismantling them. Be honest about yourself. Be honest about yourself to yourself. Sometimes it's hard when confronted to our defenses get up and we start to try to make ourselves believe that we're a good person and want everybody else to think that we're a good person. I'm not racist. You've got to push those down. You've got to be able to look internally and recognize what are those biases that you actually have so that you can begin to uproot them and confront them. Taking that to a deeper level internally, fifth, we need to work on our own trauma. Whiteness has its own set of traumas that we experience, our own set of epigenetic, historical traumas, and personally experienced traumas. And you can't uproot something as deep as whiteness and white supremacy without really working hard to do that and then to try to become a whole and healthy person. If you need some resources on that, we're happy to help you navigate how that works and some books or resources to start to begin to do that internal trauma work, which gets at the roots of where this comes from within all of us. Sixth, more practically, speak up. When racism happens, silence accentuates it. If someone experiences a racist comment or event that happens and everybody else stays silent, that racist event just gains more power. One of the rules that we have here at Launch is we speak up every single time. So we can't just be not racist, not doing those racist things ourselves. We have to actively become anti-racist, speaking against it, confronting it. Sometimes that offends people. Here at Launch, we've decided that that's not allowed to be offended. You're not allowed to be defended when you're confronted for doing or saying something racist. It's just an expected part that when you are confronted, you apologize, you embrace it, and you try to be better. And seventh, above all, I urge you to keep trying. You're going to make mistakes. This is especially if you're new to trying to do this anti-racist work, but keep showing up. Be compassionate. Lead with empathy. Keep learning. Keep growing. If you do this, I truly believe that you can be the kind of ally that we need you to be for our youth, for our staff, and that as a result we can transform a community that really needs to do some work in this area. That's what our youth need, that's what our staff need, and we hope that you will be willing to go on this journey with us of seeking to confront and uproot these horrendous things that happen right here in our neighborhood to youth of color who have done nothing to deserve it. We're grateful for you. We're grateful that you're listening, that you're willing to do this work, and we're thankful that you've come along on this journey with us. Well, as you know, this is a fundraising event. We've been incredibly blessed this year to receive a few one-time grants due to the COVID crisis that have helped us make it through this year. But with the canceling of our spring breakfast, the economic challenges facing our local businesses and individual donors who are struggling themselves, this is a tough time to be working in the nonprofit world. But our needs haven't changed. If anything, they're increasing, and so we need your support even more. So there's a lot of ways for you to give tonight. You can click donate all over the page that you're watching this on. Some of you maybe already donated when you registered, so thank you for that. You can also donate with our newest option, text to give. You can text the word launch to 91999. Again, text launch to 91999, and you can donate very easily through your mobile phone. We're so grateful to you for your support. We're amazed that in the middle of this pandemic, God continues to provide for us. And we're humbled that our youth continue to trust us to support them through this crisis. And so as we close tonight, we close with these words of gratitude for you and your continued support. And so may you be blessed as you continue to navigate these challenging times, and may you be encouraged as we walk this journey together. Thanks for coming.